Welcome to my studio. I'm Bonnie LaHoda, and I want to show you today how to add the pearlescent micas to your WonderSauce. These micas I source from a place called Just Pigments. You can find them on the internet. What I like about the company is that they package this in little 30-gram packages. The mica that I buy is a 10 to 60 micron size. They do have larger microns, but avoid those. Always get the thinner or the finer mica pigments. They come in a lot of different colors. I've used them all. I love them all for different applications. But today I'm going to demonstrate how to mix up your WonderSauce using the Royal Gold, which is a really lovely mica to use for creating things that look like a Oratone, like black and white photographs transferred to the Dass Art Wondersauce, really are quite lovely. So open up your WonderSauce and take off but keep this inner lid. Put that lid back in the top here because that'll give you a nice tight seal on your jar. Shake the mica down so that you have a corner that is pretty much clear of the material. And I don't open the end that has the actual opening on it because this is a little bit better way to get all the mica into the bottle without distributing it all over your studio. Now, I really recommend, if you can, that you do this outside so that you're not getting mica drifting around in the air in your studio. This stuff is lighter than air and it really isn't good to breathe. Once it spreads, it's really hard to get rid of it. I cut off a good sized corner off this bag, and then wearing gloves because I don't want this all over my hands. I'll open it up and then tip it over the top of the bottle and shake it into the bottle. Use your hand to kind of keep it from letting the dust up into the air. And just gently get that out of the bag. And it seems like it's a lot going in here, but I have done a lot of mismixing until I came up with this perfect amount, which is 30 grams. It goes, and there's no way to divide this bag up, so I just do it all in one bottle, and it is absolutely perfect. Make sure you get it all out. Now, if you end up with little bits on the table, have a Swiffer cloth around and wipe up the dust with that. If you wipe it with anything else, you're just going to spread it around in the air, and the Swiffer will capture it right in the rag. Okay, that's all in there. Now we're just going to close it up and shake it up. Now, every time you use this, you need to shake it. If it sits on a shelf, even for half a day, this mica can fall to the bottom and you're going to have to turn it upside down and really shake it. If it sits on a shelf for several weeks, the mica will really get packed down to the bottom of the jar. In that case, you're going to need to use a spoon or a stick to reach down to the bottom of the jar and dig that up and get it back in suspension. The other thing that I like to do is I use a brush and paint the top of the bottle with the color that's in here, and by painting on top of black I can really see which metallic it really is. Again, the golds are really lovely. They have many different shades of gold. They have this skin tone pink. The irradiant white is especially nice because it just gives a luminosity and a lift to the image that you didn't get with just transferring it to the straight UPO. These can be transferred to the metal sheets that you age. They can be transferred to black anodized metal. They can be used to back paint on glass so that you get a really shiny view from the front, and then you have your metallic on the back. So there's a lot of uses for these. This coffee colored one is really interesting to use. And oddly enough, this color, patina gold, is kind of green looking and it looks a little weird and ugly. I've had it in workshops. People absolutely love it. It gives a black and white picture, kind of the look of a collodion print transfer. very antique look. It's really quite lovely. And you can see in this that it has settled to the bottom, and even shaking this up, which I've been doing for a little bit here, that is not letting loose, and that's when you really need to get in there and stir that up. And that's a good thing to do with all of our products. If they sit on your shelf and you haven't used them for a couple of months or weeks, is make sure that nothing has settled to the bottom, and just take a stick and reach down there and stir that up from the bottom. The other thing that I do is just take the sticker off of your bag of mica and then apply it to the side of the jar, and maybe put some masking tape or Scotch tape over the top of that. If you don't do that, you're going to forget what the jar is. I have a lot of colors that I've mixed up that I love, and I don't know what they are now. So that is a simple approach to it. For using these, you just simply use this as you would the clear WonderSauce. Put it down on the Das Yupo or the metal and go ahead and do your transfer. Make sure that when you dip the brush, you can see how this has already settled to the bottom. If you dip your brush, you're not going to get the mica. Every single time you dip your brush to make another stroke on your substrate, stir it up. If you don't do that, you're going to end up using up all the liquid, and pretty soon you're going to have this real thick paint-like stuff. You go paint that down on your paper and try to do a transfer, and you're going to have something that looks like sugar water. So make sure that you stir this every single time that you dip your brush and you're going to apply it to your paper. So here's a few examples of what these prints look like. If you'll notice on the edges of some of the images, there is a reveal of this gold mica, and the way to get that is to apply several layers of the blue tape around your image, border of the Yupo, and then do your transfer. That will create a resist, and part of the image won't transfer to that edge. You can watch how that's done on the other videos on Vimeo, explaining how the actual transfers are done. But this summarizes how to use the mica infused WonderSauce for doing very unique and special transfers.